This morning I woke up to a text from Gary Vaynerchuk that said, I'm at a local event near you, stop by. Shout out to Jeff Fenster and Everbowl, by the way. Gary, my brother. Hey, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, bro. Like, yeah, the perspective that you've given me, and I don't know, man, we just share a lot of the same values, and yeah, you're the man.
It means a lot to me.
Thank you, bro.
Thank you so much.
Ready?
Thank you. What kind of bowl? You want a bowl? Can I get a picture with you and Drew? Okay.
So, man, how you doing?
Kevin, good to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Do a quick photo for me? Yeah, absolutely.
Gary, so I create content in Spanish and in English.
Yes.
And I'd like to know for the hashtag, should I keep it just one language or can I mix? Because when I speak, I'm bilingual and I mix both languages.
The hashtag's completely irrelevant. It's not going to have any impact on the content. Right now, the way social works is the content itself. The copy is important, but the hashtag discovery, it's just not the way we all search in TikTok and in Instagram. We don't really do hashtag clicking occasionally, but it's so small. And by the way, in that scenario, you could do both. You can make, like, there's no limit on hashtags. So I think you need to focus, and for all of you, whether you're building a personal brand or something for your business, the focus needs to be on the first second of your content, the thumbnail, the headline, the hook, the copy. A lot of you post the same video on Instagram and Facebook, or Instagram and X, or TikTok and Instagram, but by just changing the copy, knowing that the audiences are different, you would get so much more traction. So I think for me, those are the best practices that I want to really get out there. The reason I'm writing my new book, you know, Day Trading Attention, it's a follow-up. Somebody had it here. It's a follow-up to Jab, 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 Right Hook. Originally, it was going to be called Jab, 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 Left Hook. And it's basically the same reason I wrote that 10 years ago. Right now, there's so much changing. The way we all grew up with social media, definitely the way I grew up with it, was more like email marketing. You would try to amass as many followers as possible, and then you would post, and 20 to 30 to 40, 15, 17, 29, 30% of your audience would see it. And that was the game.
Yeah, Gary, what advice would you have for someone who's posting on YouTube but they're not getting any views or subscribers?
One is be humble and self-aware, and if you've been doing it for 18 to 24 months and really have dozens, if not hundreds, of videos and you're not having traction, it's time to swallow the pill of you're not providing content that people like. On the flip side, way too many people quit too early and only make 6 or 9 or 30 and like, fuck, I suck. I made hundreds of videos before it started to happen. And so, you know, I think it's a balance between perseverance and patience, and also being humble and self-aware of what you're doing. But the biggest thing I would say is if you've already made 20 videos and it's not happening, pay attention if all the videos are basically the same. The biggest mistake that most people make is they don't change it up. And I think changing up the format, how you do it. Again, I think the game of content making is finding something that's sustainable and works for you. So like, if you're not comfortable in front of a camera, that's a problem. But what if you actually talked behind the camera and your hands were the visual? Maybe it's just your fingers typing. Like maybe you put, you know, a camera on your head and you're cooking from that perspective. That just eliminated the excuse you're about to tell me of, I don't want to be on camera. And I promise you, today, I haven't seen it, I can't recall it, but today there are plenty of people with huge audiences that we don't see their face. And so I'm just a big fan of like not falling in love with excuses. And I believe that the world is falling in love with excuses. And blame. If you blame your parents for anything, you've already lost. It doesn't mean that they didn't fuck up, but just remember, they got fucked up by their parents. So before you love your Nana more than your mom, remember she fucked her up. Mean it.
Gary, did you have any one of those people in your life you could lay blame on, but you had to fight and not?
Every single person that's close to me.
Are they all name players?
No, my parents, my siblings, my best friends, my coworkers, they were human beings. Like, look, I got very fortunate. I did have a mother who very much built my self-esteem, but held me accountable. That's a gift. I know that not everybody has that. I know that because I saw how my grandma parented my dad. I get it. Here's the problem. If anyone has ever achieved happiness and success that had your similar circumstance, then there's no excuse. And so, and very honestly for me, and I don't know how everybody works here, for me, I prefer the naysayers. One thing I know you all know about me, I love being a Jets fan. I was a Yankees fan growing up. Then they finally won a World Series and they got very good. That was not interesting to me. Easy's not interesting to me. I like the grind. I like the climb. I prefer the doubt. I like the booing. In basketball terms, if I was a great basketball player, I would always prefer to play on the road. I want them to hate me. I want to beat them. I'm comfortable in losing. That's the problem. The only reason people struggle with naysayers is they're scared of the naysayers being right. I'm indifferent. When the naysayers are talking about me playing, how can I give a fuck? It's my game. Let them worry about their game. When people talk shit to me, it's such a quick, easy turnaround. First, being compassionate to them of why anyone would spend time trying to bring negativity to someone else is always a direct correlation to them not being in a good place. I'm compassionate to them. But number two, if they're right, dwelling on them is not going to change that. As a matter of fact, me staying in my pocket of practical optimism is the only way I can prove them wrong. I gotta catch a flight. Gary. I love you guys. Stay well. Thank you. Stay well. Take care.
I just met Gary Vaynerchuk, and one of the most value-packed things that I've learned from Gary is just having empathy for everybody. Like, empathy and perspective are two of Gary's biggest foundations in his whole personal brand. And I think that empathy is so important because whether you're in an argument with somebody or it doesn't matter what the situation is, if you can see somebody else's point of view, everything will be much better in that interaction. If you can try to understand how that other person is feeling, it is an absolute game changer. And I see so many people arguing over dumb stuff when really if they could just stop for a second and take a look at the other person's perspective and have some empathy for them, the whole world would be a better place. So I really appreciate Gary for pushing empathy. Another thing I really appreciate that Gary puts out content-wise is he talks about entrepreneurship, but he also doesn't fake like everybody should be an entrepreneur. I think that he is really focused on individual happiness and making sure that people are fulfilled and they're living their lives. And he says, you know, I have billionaire friends who are some of the most wealthy people in the world, but they're also some of the most miserable. And I have friends that are making $50,000 a year that are doing everything that they want to do, spending time with their kids, and they're super, super happy. So he pushes people more so away from entrepreneurship than towards entrepreneurship, I think, because one thing he says is, look, you maybe shouldn't go out and try to start your own company and build the next Apple because of how many of those fail. But you could go out and be a number 55 at the next Facebook or something like that and not only provide more value, but be much better off and still end up getting a bunch of wealth for it. So I really like that Gary doesn't really push people towards entrepreneurship. In fact, he tries to push the right people for the message away from entrepreneurship, and that's amazing. And again, thank you so much to Jeff Fenster from Everbowl for putting on the event and having Gary there, and Drew Brees and a bunch of other people. That was really cool. So see you guys.